I'm your host, and this is an episode of Scary Stories Told in Arabic. It started with a single ring. It was a quiet Thursday night in Amran, a small, sleepy village tucked deep into the highlands of Yemen, the kind of place where people still locked their doors before sunset and warned their children about wandering spirits in the desert wind. Omar, a 34-year-old mechanic and widowed father, was trying to get his daughter Lena to sleep. Since his wife passed 2 years ago, bedtime had become their sacred routine. Story, prayers, kiss on the forehead, but tonight, something felt off. Lena was unusually quiet. She kept glancing at the old landline phone on the hallway wall, a dusty relic that hadn't rung in years, ever since cell service reached the village. But tonight, just as Omar pulled the covers over her, the silence shattered rearing. The sound echoed like a scream through the house. He stepped into the hallway, heart thumping. The screen showed nothing, no number, just a blinking red light. He picked up the receiver slowly. Hello, no answer, just static. Then, a small voice whispered, "Why did you bury me there?" Omar slammed the phone down, his palms cold with sweat. He turned back to Lena's room. She was sitting up, eyes wide. "Baba, was that Mama?" His throat tightened. No, Habibti, go to sleep." He unplugged the phone, blaming stress and exhaustion. But the next night it rang again, still unplugged. This time, he didn't answer. He watched it ring, unmoving, as Lena stood behind him, whispering numbers under her breath. 1.2.3. He spun around. "Lena, who taught you that?" She blinked. "The lady on the phone, she's not." Omar took her out of the house that night and drove straight to his uncle Hamid, the village's old imam. After listening, Hamid's face darkened. There are whispers that the phone lines in this valley were laid over an old cemetery. Jinnah territory. I told them not to dig there. He handed Omar a talisman. "Burn frankincense at dawn, and don't let Lena answer again." Omar did exactly that. For 3 nights, silence. He almost believed it was over until Lena disappeared. Her bed was cold, the window wide open. On the floor, the unplugged phone lay with the receiver off the hook. Faint static hissing. On the wall, scratched in something dark, were the words, "She answered." The village searched the mountains, the wells, the empty roads. No trace. Weeks passed. Then one night, just as Omar sat staring at her empty bed, rearing, his blood turned to ice. He picked it up, static. Then, a child's voice, far away, yet close. "Baba, I counted all the way to 10. Then laughter. A woman's voice, gentle but hollow. "Now it's your turn to hide." The line went dead. The next day, Omar was gone. His door left open, the phone still ringing. They say if you visit the house now long abandoned, choked with dust, you'll hear it too. That ancient phone, ringing endlessly. And if you answer, you might hear Liana, counting 1, 2, 3, but you'll never hear 10. Because by then, you won't be listening. You'll be hiding forever. As some of you know, I am from the Middle East, and I have been fascinated with the spooky stories told in Arabic my whole life. So I've decided to dedicate a series of shorts to sharing them with you. The reason why they're scary, why they're creepy, and also why they're fascinating is because of the culture that they come from. There's a very rich culture of storytelling in the Middle East, especially in the Gulf countries. Storytelling is in our nature, and we have these stories that we tell around campfires, usually during Ramadan, Eid, or other gatherings where families and friends come together. These are stories that have been passed down for generations, and they often contain important lessons or morals. They can be funny, but they can also be quite scary. When you listen to these stories today, they take on a new layer of creepiness. When I heard this story for the first time, I was already creeped out because of the context of it, and I was staying alone in a hotel room while traveling for work in Oman. You see, if you go to the Gulf, you'll notice that there are lots of old phones installed in the walls of houses and hotels. In fact, you'll probably find that they don't even work. But that is part of the culture. People in the Gulf don't really throw anything away unless it's completely broken. We keep things for sentimental value, or because you never know when it might come in handy, and I think it's amazing. However, when you hear a story like this one, you'll be extra creeped out every time you see one of those old phones. In this story, the phone is more than just a relic of the past. It's a portal to the supernatural. Whenever it rings, it brings with it the restless spirit of a little girl who's been buried alive. And if you pick up the phone, you'll just bring more evil into your life. Now, if you want to know what a jinn is, you should definitely check out the episode 1 previously released on jinn. The jinn in this story seem to be similar to the Afri type of jinn, which are very powerful and can do a lot of damage. The Afri type of jinn are usually genderless, so they can be either male or female. If you want to hear more stories about the jinns, please let me know. For example, in some parts of the Arab world, people believe that you can actually make a deal with the jinns, and if you don't fulfill your end of the bargain, then they will haunt you. In other cases, the jinn can be helpful, but if you treat them badly, then they can curse you and your family for generations to come. Also, in some parts of the Arab world, people believe that the jinn can possess humans, causing them to behave erratically or even dangerously. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Please remember to share and subscribe for more episodes of Scary Stories Told in Arabic. If you haven't already, please check out the playlist where you can find more stories like this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.